Hello and welcome everyone. I just released a new plugin and it's called Overdrive ReNeo, which is a tribute to MDA Overdrive. MDA Overdrive is part of a series of VST plugins, VST 32-bit plugins from what I call the golden age of VST. It was a time when VST developers did not add a lot of buzzwords to market their plugins, not AI driven or whatever, you know, but it was just the time when you went to very peculiar looking web pages that had very little CSS on them, and the texts, the descriptions of the plugins often read very technically, like there were a lot of descriptions about the underlying DSP mechanisms and sometimes some little anecdotes of why the developer thinks that it's kind of funny. And it was kind of cute even, so it was really another time. And if you are a young developer, not developer but musician, then you can probably not imagine how that was. But let me just tell you, it was kind of a natural environment of VSTs. And this is a tribute to something from that time, where I took some code from that time, so some DSP code, and just wrapped it inside of some new modern features. So first of all, let me show you how it sounds. I have some sound here. And now I just put my Overdrive plugin on it. So now you can probably already hear that a lot is going on. Two different knobs for defining the character of the distortion. One knob for a filter. The original parameter was not in hertz but just in percent, and it was a 6 dB per octave low pass filter. I changed that to a 12 dB per octave low pass filter because I just like them more. Also a pan knob. As you can hear, currently it's being set to mid-side. You can also change that to left-right. So this basically pans the drive, and it's very interesting that how you can make different flavors with it. Also, I added, oh, it reads 2 times oversampling. I thought it was 4 times oversampling. I have to change the note on my GitHub page, I guess. Honestly, most of the time it doesn't make a lot of a difference, and I'm also not very good at writing efficient oversampling code, so I would advise you to mostly not use this feature, but it's still in here just in case that you want to have this extra bit of fidelity. Yeah, so these are basically the basic features. I now show you some other tracks that I modified with this plugin. So these are some vocals that are recorded and they are basically just auto-tuned. And then I used a high-pass filter to, you know, get rid of the mud a little bit. And then I used MDA, not MDA Overdrive, but Overdrive ReNeo. and then they are going into this group that has some chorus effect and a reverb on them without. The reason why I did that is because back when I always used MDA Overdrive a lot of years ago, I also mainly used it to distort vocals. So I just thought to myself, why not try that again? And when I did that, I immediately felt that this was a vibe that I was missing for a very long time. So it's really true that if you have used this plugin back then, and then you use this plugin, then you immediately feel this sensation again. And I couldn't use MDA Overdrive for a long time because I was mostly a Cubase user, and then they discontinued the 32-bit plugin support, and then I just got JBridge, but MDA plugins don't work in JBridge, so I couldn't use them anymore. And yeah, I had to use other plugins then and kind of forgot about MDA for a while. And when I remembered that MDA Overdrive was a thing and then rebuilt this, I immediately noticed how I was missing this sound without even noticing it. And now I'm very glad that I'm able to bring it back. Okay, so here we have some pseudo guitars. So this is a physical modeling based guitar synth, and of course it sounds a little bit synthesizer-y and not like a typical guitar. But let's just try that here because it's an Overdrive plugin. Now let's say you have found a sound that you like a lot, and now you want to have another sound. Like this was a very muffled sound, and then you want to that is a little bit more open. You can do that with a macro knob. Or even stronger down. Okay, so now I show you some other features that you can use here. For example, you can set a bias offset to each of the macro modulation depths by right-clicking on this thingy and then, dragging just normally, and then you can, make the modulation depth approach the destination a little bit faster or slower. You can CTRL click on all of these to just remove the complete modulation from that specific knob and just try from scratch. You can also flip the modulation around with the parameter value. That is useful if you notice that that the parameter value is actually the sound that you want to have. The destination is the sound that you want to have as your main patch, and the destinations should be flipped around, that they are the parameter value and the parameter value is the destination. In that case, now it's the other way around, and we have the bright sound on 0 and the filtered sound on 100%. And you can also say you really like the maximum macro sound. I can lock that, and now you can go back to the minimum sound and come up with a new patch for that without destroying your destinations, you know, because usually the destinations are relative to the original parameter value in synthesizers with macro functionality, but here you can log that. Now I just made a patch where, as you can hear, the dialed in macro sounds very muffled and it distorts mostly into the side, so it makes a very white sound. When you dial it back, you get a brighter sound that distorts mostly on the mid, which sounds more straightforward and punchy or something like that. So yeah, you can really do a lot of stuff with this modulation system. And if you are just tired of all your modulation and you just feel like, wow, that really doesn't do anything for me, you can just delete all and start from scratch. You can also save current modulations to disk, then they will be saved with a new name. And yeah, you can also load modulations from this folder. Let me quickly remove these again, as I did not really want to do that. There is a preset browser where you can type in a name and the user name and then, you know, save the preset or load another preset. Every preset contains the parameter values as well as the modulation destinations. There is a parameter randomizer which you can use to get just get creative. And there is an options menu with a welcome page that hopefully has a very welcoming and lovely feel to you. A little controls page that shows you the controls if you did not remember them from this video. You know, like what you can do with CTRL and Shift and stuff. A color scheme menu where you can define the colors to your likings. And this feature is pretty cool, the Manifest of Wisdom. There you can enter wisdom, like you should always use Overdrive ReNeo on everything. Yeah, and then you can manifest that in the Manifest of Wisdom. And I will definitely make a separate video about that feature, because this feature will be in all of my plugins now. And the reason why this is cool is, imagine you are uninspired and now you go to the Manifest of Wisdom. You can just click on Inspire and it will read a random piece of wisdom from your personal library of wisdom from the Manifest of Wisdom. Like in this case, some wisdom about tempo sync arps. It will also show you when you manifested that wisdom. And then you can, you know, get nostalgic and look back and think of the time when you wrote that. And maybe that kind of inspires you in some way. You can also reveal the wisdom folder and just, you know, edit each wisdom manually if you made a typo or something. And yeah, and clear the manifest in, so you can write another piece of wisdom. There is also a thank you page that leads to my Discord where you can, you know, tell me about bugs or feature requests, and a donate button that goes to PayPal if you just want to help me with my development process. I think there was basically everything that is to say about Overdrive ReNeo. It is available for Windows 64-bit VST3. You can get it on my GitHub page in the release section. The release section is on the right of the page. People often don't see that, but that's how it works. I can show you that. Okay, so basically this is my GitHub page, and the link to this specific project will also be in the description of the video, of course. So it's down here, and yeah, it has a little image of the plugin, a little text, and the release page where I have a zip file that contains the VST3 file. I know there are more straightforward ways to do that, but I don't know how. So when you've downloaded this, you must copy that to your specific computer's VST3 folder, which is usually C/program files / common files, or program data / common files / VST3. Yeah, that's where it goes. And yeah, I hope you all have fun with this plugin. If you have, consider telling me about it, because I'm always very excited to hear your stories or listen to your sounds and stuff like that. And yeah,